Years in exile. I want to take you back. You come back to South Africa. 30 years, would you say, I hate what they had done to me? I think I got over that a long time ago. When I was away for all those years, I never lost hope of coming back home. I used to say, I know I'll go back home one day. Then, when I think about it, what did I say? Then I tell myself, well, if you don't think so, then you might as well lay down and die. In one article, in fact, you say, given a choice, I would have certainly selected to be what I am, one of the oppressed instead of the oppressors. Do you want to elaborate on that? I felt that, and I said it, because I found that to be an oppressor is a lot of work. You have to keep thinking of how you're going to do it tomorrow for that person not to ever come up. And whenever you walk, you have to keep looking over your shoulder. And I thought to myself, that's too much work. But to be the oppressed is so much suffering. You suffered greatly. Yes, we did, but look at us today. You know, you can oppress and oppress and oppress, but one day they will come. You came back to South Africa. What were your first thoughts when you got off that plane? I always sleep on the planes. Actually, I sleep before takeoff. And when I left Brussels to come home for the first time after 30 years, in 1990, I remember it was the 10th of June, I couldn't sleep on the plane because I was so excited and so many things going through my mind. What are they going to do to me? How am I going to find a home? And, you know, because it was so long. And I couldn't sleep. When we touched down, I kept pinching myself. Am I really in South Africa? Am I really in Johannesburg? And then we got out of the plane. The lady says, follow me. I said, that's it. We go and the door opens and all these cameras. And Brenda Fassie belts out the national anthem. And all of us start singing and crying. And I look there and I see my brother. Then I just wept. And when we left there were people outside and the police were chasing them away. So they never really saw me because we got in the car and we got to my brother's house, him himself. And I looked, I said, nothing has changed here, you know. He still lives right there, Pamgwesporo, and right in front of the station, Sasem's himself. There's still the same little bridge going onto the platform. And then a lady comes with little children from a creche, and there they are singing, I started crying. And then the older ones come and they drag me out, and they run with me all over the street. She's back! So what I used to see on TV, I'm doing now. So you were doing. And then when I came back, I was so tired. I said, I'm not sitting down because I must go to my mother's grave. Because I wasn't able to come home when my mama died. So everybody from Sipho, Mabuza, and Brenda were holding me on both sides when we arrived at the Mansfield Cemetery. And so we found the grave, and I literally sat on my mother's grave and cried and asked for her forgiveness that I was not able to be there when she was taken to her Rest in peace. When you left, obviously, there's a song I remember as a little girl that said it all. There were two friends, I am living. Oh, Miriam. I sang that song as a little girl in school, thinking that I'm going to be the next Miriam. That's how I admired it. In fact, I remember Uncle used to say, I would open the radio and look inside the radio and say, where's Miriam? Miriam, come out. Oh, Miriam, when did you know your chosen career was music? I don't know. I always liked singing. In my family, we always sang on Sundays, my mother, everybody. And my brother had a piano, and he would call me from the street where I'm playing full of dust, and when his friends are there to show off. He used to teach me all these songs. I sang English before I even spoke English. I didn't know what I was saying. He taught me songs like a tisket, a tasket. I lost my yellow basket. And I'm tisket and tasketing. I don't know what I'm saying. And he would play. So I can safely say, really, my brother is the one who encouraged me and oriented me that way. Then my mom used to tell me, because my father died when I was 6, and she used to say my father's wish was to send me to England to learn music. So when she saw that I liked singing, she encouraged it too. And I always say, England to learn music. We are listening. What do you say about how we look at South African artists? And just tell them, the truth about how we live. And then I tell them, I'm not the only or the best singer from my country. There are so many others who could even do better than I'm doing. But I was lucky that I had a chance to leave. Those others are not able to come here but one day, when that day comes and they open that lid, you will see what will come out of that pot called South Africa. Just reading your story, your book, and all the articles about you, then here it is, South Africa at some point, the Afrikaners saw you as, quote, dangerous and a revolutionary. But then at the same time, here you are in America, you're the darling of the American public, and later they turned against you for getting married to Black Panther leader Stokely Carmichael then. Yes, I wouldn't say the American people turned against me. And Stokely was not a Black Panther. He was the leader of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Movement. Why he got linked to the Panthers is when Huey P. Newton was in jail, and the Panthers asked Stokely to help them raise money for his trial. So they said they called him an honorary member of the Panthers, and he did help to raise money for them for the Huey P. Newton trial. And then, of course, when I married him, Stokely was called the rebel because he spoke his mind. He always said what he wants, and he lived what he said, because Stokely never wanted to take up. When it became popular for black activists to become mayors and so on, he could have become a mayor somewhere. But he said, no, I will not serve a country that's oppressing me. That was his saying. Now, I never really repeated the things Stokely was saying. He had his mind, I had mine, and I never interfered in the affairs of a country where I was being hosted. I let them say it. I did raise funds for different movements, NAACP, for this one, for Dr. King, and so on. I joined other artists to raise funds because those were good, were fundraisings for good cause.
Isn't this ironic? All you knew that you went abroad to be a singer, and all of a sudden you're seen as a politician.
So they said, yeah, that Miriam Makeba, she's always singing politics. I say, hey, wait a minute. I do not sing politics. I merely sing and tell the truth. So if my truth becomes political, then
About Stokely, he was your third husband, wasn't he?
I won't go through that. I'm not going to count them.
Another husband that I also really love and admire, in fact I realized we had something in common. We're both Geminis, born in June, was Sonny Pillay,
Who wrote a beautiful song for me called Oh So Alone. It's a beautiful song.
Can you sing it for him?
I'll try. In the throbbing city traffic, on a leafy country lane, on the teeming sandy beaches, in the summer heat or rain, I walk alone.